Hey everyone, welcome again to Journey the Long Road. Today we're going to be making this drive in a pretty speedy car. Shout out to Spencer Johnson who made this map. This map seems to be very well liked by me, of course, and by the community, and it is, I would say, a pretty well made map. If you're not familiar with it, we're just going to do a quick introduction. We have this long road to follow, going through all four of these, we'll say, biomes, all the way over to Mom's house at the end here. So it is quite the journey. I'm expecting it to take probably about 20 minutes in this car. We did it previously in a different car. It took an hour-ish to complete. Mind you, that was a really slow car. This is going to be a whole nother story. Start the clock. We're going. We're going to see how quickly we complete this map this time around. I don't want to get air here. I don't want to damage our car. I don't want to damage all the delicate bits of this car. It is definitely a little more on the delicate side. Hitting anything at such high speeds that this thing is going to be reaching is going to be just detrimental. And here I am saying I'm going to set a great time, but I'm going pretty slow through these first couple corners. That seems kind of counterintuitive, doesn't it? Well, yes, but there's a few reasons for me going so slow. One of them being that I don't want to go off the track. I don't want to damage this thing. I don't want to hit a tree. I need to get to the end. This is going to be, like I said, probably a 20-minute drive. This is going to be more of an endurance as far as, you know, how things go in this game than it is a sprint, you know. So we need to make sure we get our car to the end in one piece. There's no point in giving her if we're just going to crash into something halfway through or at the first or second turn. And of course, secondly, we'll say, my brain is occupied, sorry. Woo! A little bit of air there. Car got pretty light feeling. I don't know this map super duper well. We've made this journey a few times, but you know, it's a long drive, as the map name kind of states. So there's a lot to memorize, and the farther we go into this map too, the less familiar I'm going to be with the road. I think some of the sections, say like the desert area, I think there's a sharp left coming up here. So the desert area, it's going to be pretty open. It won't be too hard to know what's coming up. We'll have a few sections that we won't know too well, but yeah, it's relatively flat, it's relatively open. It won't be nearly as many blind sections as this, so we can kind of keep up a little bit more of an average speed. And for any of you that decide to put in your own times, if you choose to do so, that would be pretty cool. You know, you don't have to have that section memorized to have a good time in that area. So there is a pretty fast section coming up here. I don't think it's quite yet. I think that... Okay, yeah, we need to slow down here. There's a hill. I think a right turn. And then I think after this little bend, we can be full throttle for a minute? No, I think there's one more section. Is it right here? No. I think there's one more sharp right going over a hill. Yeah, here it is. So we need to slow down for this. I say it's sharp. It's not really that sharp, but sharp enough that if we didn't slow down a lot, we would 100% wreck it. And I think after the top of this ridge, we can give her. I think. we're gonna try. Pedal to the metal, fast as we can. Let's see what we can do. Hopefully not put it into a tree at the top of this hill. I think we're okay. We're committing. We're going. Yeah, we're fine. But yeah, by all means, guys, feel free to post your own times. If you want to record it, make a video of it, then sure, absolutely do so. Otherwise, just post in the comments if you do decide to put your time in. What your time is, of course, what vehicle you completed it in. And I'd also like to see if you completed it on mouse and keyboard, a controller, with a wheel, whatever. If you can't beat me in the same car when I'm using mouse and keyboard with your fancy steering wheels, then leave me alone with not having a steering wheel. But if you beat me, which I'm sure is absolutely doable, then yeah, I guess you win that one, don't you? But no, if I wanted to sit here all day and put in better times, I probably could. I could probably put in a better time than I'm going to complete right now, because I could afford to crash a few times and start over and be on that limit a little bit more and take the time to learn the course. But I don't have that kind of time. you know, I don't have that kind of commitment. We're going to put in a good time, hopefully a good time, hopefully a competitive time, with the experience we have on this map now, and we'll see where we're at after that. Yeah, I don't know if anybody is going to try to put it into competitive time or post theirs, but I would absolutely love it if he did. So we're in the desert section now. I don't mind this section too much, but I also find it very unforgiving. Why? Well, if you go past that white line on the right, you can even see sometimes when I get close to it, you'll start to kick up some dirt, and it's also very bumpy, even when you're still, you know, over the white line but still in the paved section. I find it very, very bumpy, and that tends to upset your car, especially if you're already skidding a little bit like that. Then it'll just throw you into a telephone pole, throw you off into a cactus or wherever it feels like it. So I need to be careful I don't go off there at all. I cannot afford to put a wheel over the white line or even really close to it. I've already pushed that a little bit, to be completely honest. But I do like that I can see the telephone poles coming up, and it gives me a better idea of where the edge of this of the road is going. It gives me a good idea if I need to brake or if I'm okay at a relatively high speed. Even now, when our straights aren't super crazy long, they kind of are, but they're not. Does that make sense? We're still going like 260 kilometers an hour. I think I need to slow down here. Yeah. Going around a corner, a medium sharpness corner, maybe almost as sharp as this. I guess it's not really sharp by definition, but at this speed it feels sharp. Isn't too bad, but when you start putting a rapid elevation change in there at the same time, it really, really upsets your car. And I think it plays a part on you too, mentally. Kind of removes your confidence or makes you overcorrect one way or another, or just changes your perspective, maybe even your depth perception or something on the road coming up. It really causes problems. There's that darned UFO that abducted us. Gotta mention that every time you drive by it. Just burned it in my brain forever. I'll never forget never forget that experience when the aliens came down and abducted me. Alright, okay. I didn't lift off on that part of the hill there. I thought I was going to around that corner. And I felt like I was right on the edge. Just barely hanging on. Our brakes are nice and cold there. On the bottom left you can see the temperature. I find it curious on the left side there you can see that I should slow down, that there is some sort of damage on our car, presumably just on the bumps. But it must be all cosmetic. I don't feel the car pulling at all. I don't feel anything wrong with it. So hopefully it's just cosmetic. I mean, it must be. If it isn't cosmetic only, then it's clearly not making much of a difference. I'm not feeling myself having to correct or anything like that. Correct for a pull the vehicle's doing. But I'm sure as we get through farther, some of these more sections, I can't talk or drive. As we get farther into this track, down this road, I'm sure we'll see more of those little damaged sections appearing, especially if I dip a wheel off of the road or hit anything whatsoever that would be otherwise unwise to hit. Okay, this desert section, we're probably getting most of the way through it. Looks like we used about a third of our fuel. We're definitely going to be at the halfway mark in our fuel by the time we get out of this desert, which is possibly concerning, considering that the end of the desert is our halfway mark, and most of the driving we've done so far. I need to be careful on this little bend. Putting a wheel over the white line a couple times. Considering that the second half of our drive is going to be consistently... Oh no. That was concerning. Consistently uphill. We damaged our engine slightly. The over rev risk. And the first half of the course was more or less consistently downhill. So a little more fuel used uphill, I imagine. But maybe there'll be less time at full throttle, so perhaps it'll counteract it a little bit. I'm not familiar with these turns coming up. I'm not familiar... Oh, I need to be careful here. Yep. Ooh, okay, we almost lost it. We almost just ended our run right there. Yeah, we've definitely entered the section that I'm not as familiar with. Most of the times I've driven this map, I haven't made it this far, I would say. So we're really kind of going by feel at this point. I'm not going to be able to make up any time on somebody that does know the map good. at this point in my run. And I'm not sure if that over rev risk damage on the engine actually affects horsepower anything notably. I can't tell if it does. But, you know, it's hard to say. I don't think... I have a little mod that tells me the horsepower and power to weight and all that stuff in the bottom left corner there above the brake temperature. I don't know if that would reflect the change or not either. Probably not. These cactuses are large, some of them. I have no idea how big cactuses get in real life. I have probably seen some before. But not anywhere around where I'm living, that's for sure. Okay, this rocky area, I don't really like it, partly because I'm not familiar with it, and also, oh, I think there's a big pothole beside this plane, and also because they don't help me like the telephone poles do, because I can't see where the rocks are over a ridge very nicely. I don't have that extra little help. Even in the first section I could kind of tell with the trees. At least this time I have something like that building to help me with a tiny bit. But it doesn't really help me in the long run, or very far through the corner. Maybe it'll help with my brain a little bit in a couple spots, where I can have a landmark of such. Ooh, I almost made a mistake there. Such as that airplane back there. I knew that that airplane had a pothole next to it. If I didn't have that airplane there, that could have been a problem. We've done a little bit of cosmetic damage to all four of our wheels now. I wonder if that's something suspension-wise, or where suspension hooks onto, or what. It could be suspension. I mean, that would obviously make sense, given that it's induced by bumps, too. Looks like we've used half of our fuel now. I'm going to call that half. I think the last tiny little dot of fuel in our tank does disappear instantaneously. So that's something we need to keep in mind. We're probably not too far away from the snowy section now, though. So I think we're okay on fuel. But I'm kind of worried. I need to stretch my arm for a second. Woof. I'm kind of worried that the roads are going to start getting a little bit slick up here. That's absolutely going to be a thing that is a thing. It's a thing that's a thing in the snowy section here on the mountain, and not knowing the road too well up there is also a problem. Like, I lost way too much speed there. I could have almost fully committed, but I didn't know it was over the ridge. I'm not too sure about this one either. I don't want to go flying off. Yeah, see, I could have kept on the gas. I don't want to take more risks than I have to, but at the same time, I feel like I need to put in, to get a time, I need to put some risks in. And also, does the sun shining on the road affect the temperature of the asphalt in this game? Is that a thing? Because, I mean, ambient temperatures are a thing in this game, but does it make a difference in the sunlight or not? That I don't know. So I always feel like it's slipperier in the shade, but maybe that's just because it looks a little bit different, and it's all in my head. I want to try to get a feel here for how slippery this road is. It doesn't feel too bad, but there's definitely... I'm pretty sure there's a change. If there isn't a change here, then it is very strong in my head. There is some serious placebo effect going on. You make the road look slippery, and people will feel like it's slippery and think it's slippery and drive their cars differently because of it, which I suppose is a thing in real life too. But that's being someone who drives in the snow commonly every year, living in an area that gets sometimes some serious winters. I imagine a lot of people listening here do. Oh, I need to be careful what's happening here. That felt slippery. Yeah, you get accustomed to driving in the snow, right? But there's always those days where you don't know if the road is just wet, or if it's actually dry, or if it has a layer of ice on it that's gonna, you're gonna hit the brakes or turn a corner and go, oh yeah, that's not happening. Guess I'll just go crash now. And you never know, and that's always not knowing that bothers me the most. If I know I'm on snow, if I know I'm on ice, well, normally it's snow, but if you know you're on ice, then it's not too bad. You know to drive for it. But if you don't expect it, Holy, that's a little scary. I like driving on the snow. I don't like driving on ice. Especially if you don't know if it's ice. And that's exactly what we're doing right now, driving on some ice. Yeah, that feels slipperier. And it's, again, in the shade. I wonder if there is a correlation there. I wonder if things are slipperier. I feel like there's a corner up here that I need to be cautious of, but I don't know what's coming up. I'm losing so much time in this area. I have no confidence at all on these roads, the wintry roads. It gets eating up my time so much. The right side is that I have lots of fuel to spare, I think. Again, I'm not entirely sure how much more distance I have to travel. I think I'm going up here, making a right that's kind of going to be a big U-turn, heading me back off in the, we'll call it eastern direction. And then Mom's house should be at the end of that, so, ooh. That was a bit of an interesting road section. It's the way it changed its pitch and all that. Ooh, that rock is really close to the road. It's touching the road. That's treacherous. I don't like this section. Cut left and almost touch the grass. And go off the road just to go back to the right and do the same. Yeah, that doesn't leave much room for error, does it? And this looks treacherous too. Oh yeah, and now it's turning into a downhill. I'm struggling to turn there. That's slightly sketchy. I think there's some pretty serious hills here too, which I need to be careful of because one, I can't bleed any speed when I'm going down a hill. Ooh, yeah, that felt slippery. And I can't see what I'm doing. That would be nice to be able to see. And I can't remember what I was saying. And I can't turn sharp when I'm going downhill too. I lose all my traction. Especially if I'm cresting the ridge. It's almost like my car gets a... Ooh! Gets a bit of a jump going on. That felt slippery as could be. Oh, that's just because I got off the gas there. I didn't touch the... Did I touch the brake? I don't think I touched the brake when I was having that issue. Right before I lost control, did I? I don't know. I'd have to look at the footage again, I guess. You guys might know. We've got to be getting close to Mom's house. I really don't want to crash now. I don't know what's happening over these ridges. Okay, I think Mom's house is at the end here. I'm going to make it a point to arrive safely at Mom's house. And I better show you guys what car I used here, too. So if you want to complete your time with the same vehicle, you can. But I want to arrive safely at Mom's house. I don't want to just crash into the house at high speed. Even though that could save me a few seconds and be kind of exciting. I think I see the house. Yep, it's there. How late can I leave this braking zone? That was not too bad of a guess. I did a little bit earlier than I thought I would need. Woo! Yeah, because... Cut the time. Because, I didn't know how much traction I was going to be losing on this slippery area. So, hey Mom, let me just drive onto your grave. That's ridiculous. Every time I say that we're going to go visit Mom on this map, on this map, I just think of this, and it just makes it weird. Just makes it completely weird. All right, I got to show you what car we're using. We jointly used. So it is the Hiroshi SBR4, and we were using the Hill Climb Asphalt Edition. I don't think I showed you guys that at the beginning, did I? So, once again, yeah, feel free to put in your own times. I would love to see them. I would love to make a friendly competition about it. You don't have to have video footage or anything like that. I'll take your word for it. And if you're lying, then so be it. But, you know, that felt like it wasn't too bad of a drive as far as time went. Definitely, if I wanted to be more confident, I could have gained a few seconds here and there. Maybe I could have cut off the better part of a minute of my time if I had been aggressive and wanted to put in a bunch of attempts into this. Risk crashing and spending all day here trying to put into competitive time. But I really didn't want to do that. So, we didn't. Simple as that. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I hope to see you for maybe one more video on this map. unless you have suggestions, then we're getting pretty close to the end of this. And we'll have to move on to the next one. Find some other exciting ideas. Maybe some that don't even require any mods. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching. See you later.